Hey, everybody, welcome to the Out About Podcast. I am your... Who am I? I'm Patrick, and you all know my co-host, Chile.
Hey, how's everybody going?
And, of course, as always, we have our good friend, Mr. Jerry Bear. How you doing today, Jerry?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Gotta hear that movie. And I'm very excited. Today we have some great friends in the house. That's all. Thank you. You've been wonderful. See Craft Services on the way out, and we'll get the checks for you in the mail. Appreciate it. And our other special guest of the evening, we've got our good friends, Expeditor Chix.
Chix here.
Oh, that's right. Y'all have asked us. You've blown us up. The emails, the text messages, the phone calls.
All of it.
When they did the Morse code, I was like, that's commitment.
I looked out my window and saw smoke signals the other day.
I did too.
Yeah,
I thought it
crazy.
was a Canadian
Canadian
fire.
fires, no.
I thought it was a crazy.
No.
It was, I paid attention to them and I was watching them. I thought it said expedite Hicks.
Right, I did too.
But it actually was Chix.
Yeah.
They didn't do this. The
Something
C
happened
didn't come
with the
across
C.
right. It
didn't
was
come
kind of
across
strange.
right. Yeah,
But
it was weird. But
we've got the expedite Chicks in house. Finally, I'm so excited. Of course, we've had one of you in before. That's back when we were doing a little highlight of Jimmy and Kelly. So the studio's changed a little bit. I don't know if you've noticed. It's a little different situation. We went less newsroom and more podcast. I don't know what this is. But how's it going?
Great. We're doing good. We're excited. Glad to be here. Very glad to be here.
Are you?
your
Yes.
faces say it. Your faces are like, we're
It's
so
cold.
excited.
It's cold up here. I've been cold all day.
Really?
Cold.
Yes.
Always cold.
I have the air conditioner all the way up at 68.
It's cold.
No, it feels great.
I think it feels wonderful. I actually come a little warm right now. I need a little
Some of us
makeup, a little
need the air
powder.
condition more than others.
Yeah, well, you know.
But we're glad to be here.
We carry on some insulation. But anyways, so I have to ask, what brings you here?
Expedite Expo 2023.
Whoop, whoop.
What?
Yes.
Y'all are here?
We are here today. We will be gone tomorrow.
We are in Columbus solely for this podcast, but
Is that really what we're
Are we giving away? Are we giving away the secret?
Sounds like it.
All right. Well, the secret is you're hearing to a recording that we did a couple days ago, but right now, all of us are sitting at the Expedite Expo
That's right.
in Fort Wayne, Indiana. If you're local and can come by and you are hearing this, come on by. If you're hearing this in a couple hours and you're not local, you missed it. We'll see you next year.
The party might still be going on, though.
Can I tell you how wonderful I feel after a night of dancing and singing and playing craps? You saw me. I was at the craps table all night. I
All night.
won.
You stay. That's where
Did you see
stay.
how much money I won?
so much.
Don't you wish it was money if you were winning?
No, I lost everything. But
Good thing it was fake then.
yeah, good. That's right. That's absolutely right. But I did wonderful. I don't feel bad today. I'm not hungover. I am of renewed body and spirit, and I'm ready to have another wonderful day at the expo.
That's how we know that we're not live, because he would never say, I feel wonderful today
Absolutely
after the
not.
Saturday night.
Absolutely.
Not on that Saturday morning. No.
No, but no.
He would say it like when we first saw him at 2 p.m. on Saturday, but not
That's
first
about
thing in
right.
the
It
morning.
wasn't. I don't think that either one of you were around. And Jerry, I don't think you were around yet. You might have been. I don't think you were. There was one year when I rolled in at 2 p.m. that I got a standing ovation from
there.
the crowd.
I was
That
there.
was. That's when I knew I hit a new status of something.
When they don't sell broccoli at Taco Bell?
They don't sell broccoli at Taco Bell, and you walk into the expo center, and 150 people, most of whom you don't know, applaud and stand, and you've got people coming to you, like asking how the emergency room was, and you're like, I didn't go to the emergency room.
Yeah, that's
But-
a whole new level.
But did
That's a
I?
whole new level.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot, obviously, that year. But you know what? I'm more responsible now, and and here I am recording a podcast. So outside of that, how's the week leading up to Expo? Had to have been insane. I mean, y'all, we've been spending we're just like our 4th or 5th night together, and it's just been one thing after another, hasn't it? It's been so busy and so.
It's a lot to take care of you. So it's a lot for everybody that's involved here. Like it's been so busy, but for the rest of us, it's a different scenario.
Y'all all missed my cooking the other day. I made a jambalaya.
I've never
tasted
seen
it.
you
It was
cook.
off.
I've never seen
It was
you cook.
off the chain.
It was
Prove it.
delicious.
Oh well, you missed out.
I can prove it. I did eat it.
Okay.
It was really good. Vince, what'd you think?
I wasn't here for the jambalaya either. I wasn't invited.
Sounds like somebody's cooking tonight.
Yeah, that was Dina.
It was Dina. Her enchiladas were just
That's
like
another
they were
reason
good.
for
they
the
were
trip.
fire.
Dina's
amazing.
cooking.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Yeah, there's a song that Dina's cooking in that song. Something
We'll
about.
write one.
All right, I'm good with that.
Let's
Jerry
go.
Beck, get
Let's
on it.
hear it.
Okay.
Oh no, but it's been a lot of fun. So you have a YouTube channel called The Expediting Chix.
We do.
What inspired you to start the channel?
Yeah.
We wanted a channel that was informational, being on the sourcing end of it and having that initial conversations with drivers, all those questions that they often have, you weren't seeing those addressed a whole lot. It was more over the road videos from YouTubers. So our videos are geared more toward the beginning steps.
Yeah.
Informational. What is Hyfield? What do I need to do? I just graduated. What's next? And so we wanted to gear that more toward those initial steps
Yeah.
into coming on board.
What can I expect?
Mm-hmm.
How's it work?
Yeah.
What's required? That kind of stuff. Plus, we wanted to have fun with it too. So we're kind of short informational videos. And of course, I will say when we did start out, we're a hot
used
mess.
to try to script it. Remember?
We did originally try to script, and that quickly didn't last.
No, which
No.
spun into a whole bunch of bloopers, which were great for content. But then eventually, we're like, no, we're just a blooper in ourselves.
it,
So we
yeah,
stopped scripting it.
yeah.
But we also had key points that we wanted to hit. We didn't want to leave anything out.
No.
So
Plus, we love each other, and it was fun to do. So
It was fun.
it was
is
still fun.
Well, okay, it is.
I was like, are we breaking news?
Yeah,
What's happening
exactly.
here?
What's going on here?
And we are now totally unscripted. I think we never know what we're going to say or what we're going to do.
No, we don't. We just turn the camera on and have at it. She's like, what kind of
Sometimes
calls
to
have you
our
had
own
lately?
detriment.
Yeah.
Sometimes to our own detriment, but still,
And it's not always recruiting or like sourcing related. I mean,
we've cooked. We made cookies.
we did make cookies. We had a baking session.
I don't recall that.
I don't either.
Did
I
you
don't
get
either.
cookies?
Yeah, we made some
No,
kind of
I
chocolate
didn't
nut
get
thing.
cookies.
We didn't actually have to bake.
And?
It was kind of a no bake
We
thing.
turned the oven or stove on. We melted the
Oh,
chocolate.
we did milk chocolate.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, and that you have to do that on the stove. I make a I make it, not to brag, but I do make a
Not to brag, but let me brag.
I do actually make a Christmas. It's not really Christmas, but I only make it for Christmas. It's this dish or whatever, but at the top it's a layer of molten chocolate. And the first time I ever made it, the instructions said you can microwave it or throw it in a double boiler and whatever. So I was like, well, clearly I'm going to microwave it. I cannot tell you, I burned 19 pans of chocolate. It was so frustrated. Threw them in the double boiler. Perfect.
perfect. Yeah,
Every
easy peasy.
single time. And I'm like,
you gotta
no,
babysit
you gotta.
it. Gotta give it a little love.
Yeah, you gotta give it love. You gotta do it slow. Bring the heat up slowly. You gotta really care for it.
We still talking about chocolate?
Yeah,
Okay.
and and then it just makes for a perfect mess. And it is yeah, that's definitely the way I like to do it. The microwave is you know, the older I get, the less I use the microwave. Isn't that crazy? The more I find, I just like if you throw food in the oven or you throw it in the skillet or you throw it in the
Air fryer.
air fryer. Yeah, the air fryer. Big on
I
the
don't
air
use
fryer. I love
the
the
air fryer for anything.
What?
You don't even have an air fryer.
I
I
had
do
we
have
don't own
two.
an air fryer either.
I've
I
never
had-
used them. I'm married to an Italian. I don't need an air fryer.
I had a really great friend of mine. She went and bought me a bunch of crawfish pies from a store that was going out of business, and we used the air fryer to bring them back to life, and they are fantastic.
Prove it.
Love me a
Keep
crawfish
talking
pie.
about food. You're gonna cook me something. tonight.
Obviously, I'm hungry. I don't know why. I just had 19 pounds of enchiladas. I'm talking about New Orleans cuisine. I'm like, I'm all up in this mug. So, but yeah, I do love your videos. I love they're informative. I love they they walk you through the opening steps of not only how do I get into business, but also what to expect. What's life like out on the road? You've done some videos of what do the trucks looks like on the inside. And the thing I love the most is, unlike this podcast, you keep it short, 7 to 10 minutes. I'm in, I'm out, and I learned a little bit, and I love that aspect about it.
well,
I-
thank
Thank you.
I don't have that discipline.
We have a lot to say in 7 to 10 minutes, though.
We do.
a lot.
And what's so funny
pack
is
it in there.
we made a commitment at the beginning that we would do like 5 minutes or
3
less.
to 4 minute videos.
Yeah, and
Our
then
initial
when we-
video says 3 to 4 minutes.
Then we would do a 7 when we're like, we're too long. Yeah, we don't worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
But still short and sweet, packed full of information. And
Yeah,
our goal.
it's cut nicely, and I like to, I mean, you film from it's a beautiful location. You hear birds chirping in the background and everything. It looks very peaceful, very relaxing. Your studio is very nice. I appreciate that aspect about it.
Our studio is definitely not this.
Well, this
Typically,
is
her living room, my living room, the back porch, the kitchen.
by the
somewhere.
lake.
We did do one by the
We
lake.
did.
yeah.
Our very first one. We never did
we
that
live
again.
in the most beautiful place in the world, in our opinion, and so
Well, that's fair.
we're showcasing that a little bit.
It is a
Well,
gorgeous part of
Thank
the mountains, and
and we're animal friendly.
you're very animal
Very
friendly.
animal
Love to
friendly.
To a
incorporate
fault.
animals.
To a fault.
It's
Except,
almost
I-
the Animals podcast.
It really is. It's
Not
the
really. I have a new
expedite
pup.
animals and chicks.
Right.
We
You,
need to
you said
get,
you have a new fur.
a new pup.
Oh,
who has
I-
not made it to a video.
I'm like, all right, Cruella, what else you got?
So we need to get all the babies in one of the next videos.
Yeah, that'd
Don't
be
get
fun.
me wrong. We don't invite Woody into the videos. He's a cat. He does what he wants.
His,
Yes, and it's usually the opposite
His
of what you
rear
want.
end will make an appearance in just about every video.
Yeah,
That's
but he,
okay.
but he looks so cuddly.
He
He's
is.
getting fat though. You notice that?
She's starving him to death.
Oh, heaven help. There's far from starving to death.
She says he's fat. I
he
think
can
he's
live
hungry.
off fat reserves for a month and a half.
I disagree. We have a complex.
He's
'Cause
22 pounds.
I care for him while she's traveling, and I feed him well.
That's the problem. I'm just
Okay,
kidding. She's not
next.
responsible.
I mean, he's
for his
gonna
overweight.
listen. He's your cat. If you want to give him heart disease and have him die early, that's your business.
Seriously,
What?
now he's trying to guilt me.
I'm not guilting you.
If he comes in and climbs all over you until he drives you absolutely bonkers, the only thing to do is shut him up and give him food.
Or put him outside.
Yeah, that's probably not a good thing.
Put him
Let
outside.
him chase some mice or something.
Yeah. Then he's chasing. He's burning calories.
Right. Exactly.
He can't go outside. The
He
people in my
could.
neighborhood are not nice.
He likes all survival.
I heard
skills.
about your one neighbor. Anyways, we're not gonna get into that.
It's not
So,
safe out
anyways,
there.
it's really not. No, not even the trees. So, well, I love what you do. I think it's great. I hear that it's a wonderful tool. And for those of you that don't know, Kelly McDonald is the fleet coordinator for the FedEx Custom Critical side of Hyfield's business, and she's responsible for 70-ish trucks. And then Delina is one of the recruiters over there, and she's responsible for bringing on all the teams. So chances are, if you have listened to our podcast or you've watched their videos and you're like, let me call and see what's going on, you've probably talked to one of them at some point, most likely Delina, but every now and then they drag Kelly into it as well. It's been a great, I love what you're doing with the show. I am curious. I feel like I have to ask this of Expedite Boogie all the time, but when are we going to get more content?
Very soon after the expo.
Yeah, we do hope to do quite a bit
We
of content
do.
at the expo.
My hesitation is we have to figure out how to do it. We're going to be separated for a few
Well,
months.
we might be separated for a few months. We're hoping. Well, I don't mean to sound like that. That doesn't sound good. But I am hoping we're separated for a few months.
Well, you explain why we're not just separating for the heck of it. I mean,
No, of course not.
she has an opportunity and she's going to disappear from me for a few months. So anyway, we have to find out how to
Yeah,
make
we're
it
gonna
work.
need your help, Jerry.
Listen, every time a relationship splits up, it causes strife, and you have to find a way to work out to keep whatever connection you have still alive.
Then it
So-
will be a business trip for me to come down and visit you
And
at the
make
beach
content.
and make content.
We'll have to see what kind of budget media has.
That's all I got to do to get him to be
There
quiet.
we go. Problem solved.
Yeah. We'll
Well,
have to see what
No,
our
but I will
sponsors
be
say
down to
about that.
visit her a lot. We've
Yeah.
got some plans in the works, but
Cool.
we will have to figure out how to make videos.
So we get to look forward to videos from the campfire.
Yeah, we did do a
Or the
great.
beach.
We did a great reunion camp video when we were separated last year. When we
We
went down,
did. We did.
which that one was fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm super.
We'll make it
jealous.
happen. We'll
Yeah,
make
we'll
it happen. Video, content coming soon.
All right, you heard it straight
We
from
promise.
them. You hear it straight from them. Content coming soon. When does this separation start?
Mid-August.
Okay, that's 4 weeks away, 5 weeks away. So
Plenty of time to
You
make
can't
And
content.
also, in our
content.
defense, we've been a little covered up with grandbabies. We're the granny chicks now, in case you haven't heard. And so
We're gonna go with that.
we've been a little
We're
busy.
gonna go with that.
I don't think that
Been a
one
little
works
busy.
too well. I don't think that works too well at all. Do you?
It can't. No, it's no, it's just not gonna
No.
work.
We don't
it's
like
not
granny
gonna work.
chicks.
No,
It's
we
a-
could be glamours.
I'll be a glamour.
Grandma's sounds nice.
It's not. It's not the
It's
worst.
a little smoother than the expedite than granny chick. I can't
Granny
even- can't even
chicks?
get in my head. Grandma's. I like grandma's.
That's our glamorous granny.
Well, okay, we've been posed this question, and since you are the expedite chicks, you are in recruiting and professional, I get a question commonly, and it's phrased a little funny, but let me ask: why don't people get a hazmat or a tanker, and why should they?
Like what their reasoning is that they don't get it to begin with?
Yeah.
I think I don't know why. Well, I know I had one. I think some people don't want to. It is responsibility, so there is additional learning. I think you have some people who don't want to deal with the responsibility of hauling that because it can be a lot of different, hazardous materials in the back. But I would get it because it's additional opportunities to run loads. It's additional money to run loads. So to me, it's a no-brainer, especially on our Panther side, because it automatically gives you additional revenue per mile that you run, whether you have hazmat in the back or not. So that's one way to look at it. On the FedEx side, it definitely opens up additional load opportunities when things might be slow that you can run. I don't know why maybe some can't pass the test. I mean, that's always a possibility. It can be a little tricky. It's only 25 questions.
Well,
You
what I
only get
hear
to miss a
now,
couple
now
of them.
there is the obligatory course that you have to do.
Oh, that too.
And so a lot of people are, okay, I'll go back and do it, once I get in the truck and get whatever. And they'll go back or say that they'll go back and do the testing and the classes and all of that.
That's
and,
true. That is new.
So I think it's just thinking about all of the new obligations that come along with it. And it just kind of seems like a hassle, but they don't understand the amount
Financially, too.
and financially, I don't know, remember how much the class is, like $120 or something.
No.
But financially, you're looking at it as a whole. When they don't understand, it will benefit you as far as load opportunities go. So
You do have to have a fingerprint, and they run a check on you, on your fingerprints and background to even qualify to run that.
and the
that
new
costs
course is
money.
not that big a deal. I think they make it out to be this 3 or 4 day course or something. And
It's online for a couple of
yes,
hours.
Work at your own pace. You can knock it out. So don't let that intimidate you.
Absolutely not.
Well, one thing I'm curious about too is, so when I got my CDL, I got it long enough ago that I actually just went and learned and studied the manual and watched a bunch of YouTube videos and rented a truck and was able to go and test on that truck and pass, right? So very different than what most people are doing nowadays. When someone goes to driving school and they want to become a truck driver, what are they being presented as far as hazmat goes? Is that part of the curriculum and some people choose not to test for it? Or is it being downplayed by the schools? What were your experiences when you went? Vince, I know you went to truck driving school and so did Kelly. Jerry, you just studied, right?
Correct. I just studied and took the test like you did.
Yeah. So what were your experiences when it came to hazmat with those schools?
We got our hazmat pretty much right away. Then when Jimmy and I went to trucking school, when we got our permit, we knew that having the hazardous materials endorsement on our license would benefit us because we went to drive tractor trailers. So once we got the permit, we went ahead and got fingerprinted and then just waited for those to come back and went into it with that. We had all intentions of getting it in the first place because I didn't see a downside. I don't think either one of us did. The more opportunities you have, the more money you can make.
Sure.
That to me, it was a no-brainer. So for us, it was pretty easy. And we just picked up the book from the DMV, studied it, took some practice tests because nowadays you can take, depending on what state you live in, they have online courses that basically give you the same exact questions that are on the state test that you're going to take when you go to the DMV. So we, got it right off the cuff, and we just took practice test after practice test and basically saw every question that we were going to get asked. So they do make it where it's extremely doable. The fingerprinting thing, that was a pain to have to go because we didn't have one near us, but we just took a day trip, got fingerprinted, wait for that to come back. But they encouraged us at the truck driving school that we went to. But it was a community college or a technical college that we actually got our Class A's at.
Was there a class portion for it, or was there? No, they didn't even offer it. You had to go just study.
It was just teaching you how to pass the test to get your CDL.
Okay. Was that your same experience, Vince?
My school required us to get our hazmat endorsement. So they required all the endorsements except for passenger. We had to add doubles and triples, and also our hazmat and tanker endorsement.
Was it sponsored by a carrier?
It was not sponsored by a carrier. I paid for it myself.
Really?
But they wanted you to be as marketable as possible and have all the endorsements. You know, they had carriers come in and give their spiel and their pitch to try and get you on board with them.
Yeah.
The company I ended up going with didn't even haul a hazmat, but so they didn't require you to get fingerprinted. Strangely enough, they wanted you to have the endorsement but not the fingerprints. But I went ahead and did it anyway. We had a couple of days that were short days where you had time to go to the DMV and do it. For me, it was a 2-hour drive one way to get fingerprinted. But I went ahead and did it because it did make sense to me to take the test and have the test portion done, but not have the full endorsement on my license. So I went ahead and made the trip and got my fingerprints done and got the whole endorsement. The funny thing was I never went back. So I got my CDL before my fingerprints came back. And in Oregon, where I got my CDL, you had to go back to the DMV to get your new license with the hazmat endorsement. And I didn't do it because I didn't need the endorsement and didn't take the time to go. I was out on the road, so I didn't take the time to go back. So when I needed my endorsement to come on board with Panther and Hyfield, I went back to get my endorsement added, and they said, "Oh, your test has expired. Your passing test is only good for 6 months."
Huh.
So I had to redo the written hazmat test in order to get my endorsement added to my license. So
Did you study for it, or did you go and wing it?
I studied for it because the first time I didn't study, I went with a video that the school showed, and the test was completely different. Yeah. So finally, I sat in the parking lot of DMV with the book and read through the hazmat section and went inside and took the test and passed, no problem at that point, because the video was just completely different than the test.
I wonder if the video was more practical, what you do, or so when I studied the hazmat manual and then I went in, it asked me all this stuff that was so, you could tell it was written by bureaucrats and not by people who cared about the safety of trucks going down the road and what it took to actually haul hazmat. There was nothing of any benefit at all to anyone in that test. It was a complete joke.
And a couple trick questions. They always try to get you.
Sure. Yeah. The first time I hauled hazmat with Panther, there were things I had to do that I had never been taught.
Oh yeah. So Eric and I, when we were running, we ran and hauled a lot of hazmat and kind of did a lot of the hazmat people didn't want to do. We had no problem with it. Hazmat is, it's hazardous because if it's treated incorrectly, it is hazardous. Right. But if you treat it correctly, it's not. Problem. Like, I hate saying it's not hazardous because it is, but it's not. There's just protocol in what you do. If you follow the protocol, you're fine. Millions of tons of hazmat travel across the nation every year with no issue at all. So it's just sticking to the protocol and being fine. And Eric and I did that for years. And then we finally, hazmat endorsement popped. I went straight to the DMV. I was like, I've been hauling this stuff for years. I know everything about the bill of lading. I know how you document everything. I know the emergency response guidebook. I know how to do my periodical. That's funny. I know how to do the tables to check and make sure you can actually put the two things together. I know all of that stuff. And we get there and they're like, if you have 30 pounds of TNT in the back of your truck,
right,
how far off a shoulder can you park on Tuesdays in rush hour? And it's like, 100 feet, 50 feet, anything as long as you're monitoring it. Or E, you shouldn't be in the city limits at rush hour. Like, it was just all these weird things. And it had nothing to do with the practical. That example is probably too practical. It was kind of crazy what all they wanted you to know. I failed it on my renewal and had to actually go home. I didn't go to DMV and pick up a manual. They didn't give the physical manuals anymore. It was all online. So I had to go online and download the manual and go to the hazmat section, and you could only test once a day. So I had to just read over it and went back the next day and still only passed with like an 80%. I was like, you got to be kidding me. But it was such stupid stuff that does not in any way pertain to how we haul hazmat and safety or at all. It was complete crap. And one of the questions was outdated. So today, when you have a hazmat on your bill of lading, there is a very specific order it has to be written in. And if it's not in that exact order, you can't haul it.
That's a test question. Always.
Always a test question. It's a big deal. State of Louisiana still has the old information, which is there used to be 2 different ways you could write it. It was either or. Well, when I took my test, the either or had expired. It had to be one way, and they marked me wrong because I said it had to be one way because the test was still the old version of it could be either or, even though by law it couldn't be.
Yeah,
So it's like, again, it's bureaucratic stuff. They don't care anything about safety.
They want your money.
They want the money, and they want you to prove that you can pass their test. They don't care about what you know. It was crazy.
I think it's always interesting because we've picked some stuff up before, and you don't realize it, like the syrups in soda.
Yeah.
And hazardous.
Sonic.
You're like, what?
Yeah,
Hold
we-
on a minute.
the-
I'm
we did
hauling
that.
syrup.
Melissa and I did that once, probably too. We hauled some sort of acid. I don't have a Coke can in front of me, but it was, it's on your Coke can. It's an acid of some sort, and it was in large enough quantities, and it was it was hazmat and tanker because it was in big totes.
Totes.
Yeah.
And it was just wow. This is going to a beverage bottling plant. And just bizarre, but it was hazmat.
Perfumes. We've done perfume before.
Yeah.
That has some hazard depending on the quantities of it. Yeah.
Drills, like people don't think about hauling drills, have lithium batteries in them. And you gotta do it. I mean,
we hauled a load. It was a road show for a large warehouse home improvement chain from Florida to Washington, and it was for a specific tool manufacturer. It was like their tabletop and all their handouts and things and their props, and it happened to have in it a drill with a battery that the rep was using to assemble his tables, and it was hazmat, class 9, but it was hazmat because it had that battery. And I go, well, up front in my toolbox, I've got 3 drills with lithium-ion batteries, but they're not hazmat. But this, because it's cargo, it's now hazmat. It was the weirdest thing for us.
Yeah.
Just bizarre.
it is weird. It's like 50-gallon drum of gasoline in the back of your cargo box is hazmat.
Right.
You got 200 gallons of it strapped to the side of the truck, perfectly fine.
Roll
But-
with it.
Or batteries. You got 3 or 4 large AGM batteries, not hazardous. You put one battery in the back of the truck, it's hazardous. It's weird what they require.
It is nice, though, with our carriers that the support team is behind you. So they kind of, even though you're required to have it, and it's ultimately it's the driver's responsibility to make sure everything is as it should be and the paperwork's where it should be and arm's reach, all that good stuff. But they do have a team of people that they don't allow you to leave. They make sure that you have everything you need on the side, whatever the right placards are, that your paperwork is done, you send it all in. So that's a blessing for drivers now. When they might have some fear of it or they might be scared to get it, there's a support team behind them to help them make sure that they're doing everything correctly.
Absolutely.
As far as driving the roads and making sure you're on the right place,
different story.
That's up to you.
Yeah.
That's where good GPS comes in.
And there's always the whole, if I don't have the paperwork correct or it's not written out exactly perfect, then I'm going to get that hit on my license and it's going to hurt me or whatever. But a lot of that stuff is actually shipper's responsibility. And when the shipper gives it to you and the carrier reads it and clears you and they don't catch it and you don't catch it, the nice thing about having the carrier had the last word is a lot of times if it does come up, you're on a roadside and something is just like an X is in the wrong spot or something's just written a little funny and they give you a ticket for it, the carriers usually goes on the carrier and they take care of it. So it is nice. Now, again, there are things that are driver responsibilities. Like you said, you can't drive, like in Columbus, for example, you have to take the loop around Columbus. You can't drive through the middle of town.
You have to take the outer belt around Columbus.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I think one thing to that point that Kelly mentioned, having a good GPS, a truck-specific GPS, not a cheap off-the-shelf one for a car, because you can change those to use hazmat routes. Tell it what kind of hazmat you're hauling. It will give you hazmat routes. Now, just like you wouldn't trust a GPS that takes you into a lake. You want to be careful with that and still watch your road signs.
Absolutely.
And make sure that you can't run hazmat somewhere because they're not perfect.
Yeah.
But a true truck GPS is important when you're running hazmat, certainly.
It's important anyway, but
sure.
it's definitely important if you're running hazmat.
You don't
But
wanna
that's
run-
nice that they have that.
You don't
Can
want to run
imagine?
Google Maps as your primary GPS on a truck.
And
Absolutely.
back in the day, remember guys were using the Atlas.
Right.
I remember-
Yeah.
I remember-
blows my-
I
how
don't-
far we've come
Can
with
you
that.
still go into a truck stop at the beginning of the year and get the new
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
phone book map?
Atlas?
The Rand McNally Atlas.
Rand McNally
oh, yeah,
Atlas?
Sure.
I would
had
not
a-
survive
updated
at
every
all.
year.
I'd still be wandering around Maryland somewhere if I had an Atlas.
I mean, we had a truck GPS, but we still bought an Atlas every
did too.
year.
We did too.
Just as backup.
We did not.
You never know.
We didn't, but
Tucked
we would.
it under the mattress because it was the only place it would fit. It was so big and so thick, we just put it under the mattress in the truck.
And it gave
space.
some nice lumbar support.
It might have.
You put it that right spot
Yep.
right there in that lower
Yep.
back. You're like, oh,
There
that's
you
kind of
go.
nice.
Remember when GPS first came out, you had to buy the updates. You're like, how important
Yes.
is that update? Do
Yeah.
I want to spend that $50 right now, or do I just want to
Yeah.
wing it? So,
Yeah. Well, nowadays with the new truck, most of the truck GPSs now give you lifetime updates, right?
Yep.
They'll go ahead and they just
Yeah.
that's part of the package.
They update regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go in right now and buy the 2024 edition
How much is it?
of the Carrier Atlas. Let's
Used to be
shout
what,
now.
$100 bucks?
I don't
For an
know if it's
Atlas?
that much.
how much
You
is
can
this?
you can get the standard one.
Oh,
for
it's way-
$34.99.
Way
30
cheaper than what I thought.
Or you can get the deluxe one that has the spiral
Okay.
for $59.99.
Or-
for some of us, you can get the large scale spiral one for $100.
Well, the
Large
large
print.
large
Large
scale is
print.
what I think I see most of the time in the
Yeah.
truck stops because people like well, it
Me?
doesn't matter, but
Yeah.
they
Yes, I am there, but who's got time? I mean, literally, it was very tiny.
yeah.
Even back
Yeah.
then, Jimmy's dad.
Worth
up
every
in-
penny.
Yeah, Jimmy's dad up until the day he died. Anytime he would never. First of all, he never had a smartphone, so he certainly wasn't using Google Maps.
Yeah.
And every time he traveled, he all his life, 100%, didn't matter how technology came along, always pulled out a map to find.
my
where he was
daddy's the
going.
same way, and he
Yeah.
still gives me specific instructions. If he knows, okay, you're going to Ohio. Okay, you make sure you take this road, this road, this road.
Yeah.
I'm going whichever way the GPS is telling me.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to I remember back in the day we'd go on road trips. The one of the things that we always had was our Rand McNally. That was for cars, it wasn't for trucks, but Rand McNally Atlas, it folded in half and it was in that like vinyl cover
Yeah.
with a little snap.
Yep.
And then you'd bring it out and when you wanted to open it, it was like
Massive.
Yeah.
massive. It completely covered the entire front seat. You had to sit in the back seat, open it up, and use the front seat to hold it, and then you'd find it, and then go your way. And yeah, I remember
I used
very
to,
clearly.
I used to love road trips just for the maps. My parents would go to AAA and
And
they
get one
get
for
the
each
travel
state.
book, and
Yeah.
then they get one for each state, and just the map. I love looking at maps. I still love looking.
I
at
did that when we
maps.
went to Italy. So Jerry, I don't know if you did the
You
same
went to
thing or not.
AAA?
We went to Italy, went to AAA, and I got my international driver's permit.
Okay.
And they were like, "Where are you going? Do you want maps?" And I was like, "Yeah." I didn't know if my smartphone worked there. I didn't.
Heck yeah.
I didn't know about Italy. I was like, I don't know if I need a map or if what's going to happen when I get over there. I had no clue. I was kind of terrified. And of course, you get over there and everything works just fine. But it was a little daunting. So no, I did get some of those AAA maps. But I remember because I'm a little younger than you, I remember going on the trips. Like we used to go camping, so we would just get campgrounds all over the country. And I mean tent camping, like you got to get there.
Leaf tent
You
camp.
got to set up tent and everything before you.
Camp last weekend.
And going to MapQuest. Remember the OG of online
They have
maps
it all
Yeah.
and printing them
listed
off.
out there for
You got the whole. You got the written
Open.
instructions. Take up like 12 pages,
Right.
and then you got the
Highlighted.
map, and then. You do the big map, and then you get to the local map, and you print the local map that was zoomed in way more, and and if you got off that route,
Oh, you're
Oh,
done.
you're in bad shape.
oh,
You're in bad shape.
Oh yeah.
then you're
There was no MapQuest rerouting you on paper.
oh yeah. Well, you see something. You see the TV movies, where are the TV movies? Or the older movies where people like stop into the gas station. And they're
Right.
like, "Hey, how do I get back to Marysville or whatever?" And the gas station attendant would tell you, go up there, take a laugh, whatever. I think to most kids now, they think that's ridiculous,
Yeah.
preposterous, or whatever.
Right.
I've
Completely
done it.
ridiculous.
I remember
I have too.
having to do it. Being on an old back road, we thought we knew where we were going, and then there was a point where we realized this is
screwed.
not going where I thought it was going to go.
And the worst part was whenever you stop and ask for directions, and then you got somebody at the local gas station, and they're like, "Go down there by Johnny's farm,
Right.
and you're going to take a left next
Yes.
to the apple tree,
Yeah.
and then you're going to go about 6 clicks, and you got another farm on the right." Yeah.
Yep. Or take a right where the Walmart used to be.
Yeah.
Oh, that helps. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm surprised my parents are still married.
I was about to say the
Some
exact same
maps
thing.
and
My parents
mother
would
trying to read them out.
argue. Oh my gosh.
My dad yelling at her, "Where am I going? Where am I going?" And my mom trying to do it fast enough.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw some pretty ugly things on the road.
I did
I
too.
kind
Going
of
from like Georgia to on a Pennsylvania road trip, going through the Amish country. And, oh, that was ugly.
Oh, forget about it.
Completely ugly.
No, the best is watching your dad grab the map and read it. The vehicle's still moving.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
It's 70 miles an hour. No one's looking forward. You
Right.
know, we're just like,
just to get the map. Yeah.
You got the big station wagon. The kids are climbing up in the back seat in the window. Yeah.
so we
Just
had
take
the,
a nap across the back.
we had the
Yeah.
station wagon when we first, as I was a little kid, I had a station wagon. Then we moved on to the Buick, and the Buick was not a station wagon, but it was nice. Had that nice velour. Remember velour? Oh yeah, had that nice. You could do this, and it'd be one thing. And you could do this and another, and then you could write words in it
Right,
if you had just
yeah.
had it. Yeah. Oh, fun,
Just right.
fun times. I
We didn't
remember.
get
I
the
remember.
station wagon road trip.
I remember we were like, we will never have leather seats. And now my dad, my sister, me, we all have leather seats. It's like, because down in South Louisiana, leather seats would kill you.
Yeah, that's
Too
hot.
hot.
Oh,
Yeah.
super hot.
Way
It's
in Florida.
insane. But nowadays, with heated and cooled and all that stuff, and I park it in the garage, and it's like, yeah, I don't think twice about it. But now vinyl. Dad had vinyl in his old Ranger. And it was that kind that had the, it wasn't tuck and roll, but it was, had the like little humps
Yeah.
in it, or hills or whatever. And it had the little,
Little buttons?
It had, no, not the buttons, but it was textured. Like it had like holes in it.
Oh yeah, perforated.
Perforated, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was perforated for cooling.
It was.
But
I
what
have
it
no
really
idea
did,
what he's
what it
talking
really did was,
An old seat in an older
old
vehicle.
truck. So what it really was when you sat on as a little kid, with your short shorts on,
Yeah.
you got a nice imprint of the holes of the vinyl seat all down your leg and yet lower thigh. Like, yeah,
I still get
remember
that with sitting
correctly.
on seats. Give me
Yeah.
a break.
Oh, but not seared in.
No.
Sit on there and you see smoke start to come up. It's good stuff. And meanwhile, Dad had the, those wood beads, the seat cover that was the
Yeah,
wood
the wood
beads that
beads.
kept them nice and safe. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Good road trips.
Miss that. So
I
all that to
know.
say,
Get your hazmat.
and your GPS. Yeah, I think it's worth it. Again, they don't ask you to do anything dangerous. You're just hauling freight that needs a little more attention.
Right.
The other thing is tanker. A lot of people don't get their tanker. And then they go in the box trucks and they're like, well, I got the hazmat, but I don't need a tanker. I'm not hauling a tank of gasoline or anything like
Right.
that. And what they don't realize is the government changed the rule a few years back. And this has actually been since we were driving, where if you have a container over, is that 1,000 gallons? 1,001 gallons?
Over 1,001. Yeah.
Over 1,001 gallons, you have to have a hazmat,
endorsement.
a tanker endorsement. Sorry, a tanker endorsement. And we do a lot of that. Both carriers, or all the carriers for support rather, they all have these big ink and contracts for the whole these
Right.
huge tankers. And here's huge tanks, put them in the truck. And here's the deal: if there is one droplet of water inside of that thing, you have to have the endorsement. If it's brand new, off the factory floor, it's never been touched,
Right.
you don't.
Yeah.
But if it
Actually-
has ever been used and it has any moisture in it at all, you have to have a hazmat.
We've actually
mean,
had
a
quite
tanker.
a few drivers lately that have tanker endorsements, but not the hazmat.
Yeah.
Well, I think because the tanker's easier. You're taking
Yeah.
a class in the test, but you don't have to do the fingerprinting process.
But
Yeah.
most of the stuff we ever hauled in a tote was hazardous.
Yeah, I think so.
So-
But yeah, I agree. Same here.
Yeah.
I was that was my experience with it as well. But like a lot of the plow trucks over here, they put down they don't put straight salt in the road. They put down a brine,
Right.
and those brine
that's
tanks
not-
are not hazmat.
Right.
If you're working for a construction company and you haul water, you don't have to have a hazmat. So there are things that our fire trucks don't have to have hazmats. There's certainly things out there, industries out there where you have a need for a tanker without a hazmat. I don't think that they're very common, but they do exist.
For sure. But if you're going to get one, you might as well get the other.
Yeah,
It is
me
two
as well.
separate
Absolutely.
tests, though.
Yes.
So
But
they are
you're-
two separate endorsements. It does require you going
And
in
the-
and paying.
The
and having to take
opportunities and
two
the
tests,
money
but
are-
absolutely.
Are certainly worth it.
And they go together so well that the
Mm-hmm.
FMCSA in the states, they make it an X and
Yeah,
as
just
for the
one
endorsement.
letter. Yeah.
They just put an X, so you don't get a H and a T. You get an X because it's such a common
Together.
endorsement to have together, and it makes sense. It makes you more money. It is a big deal with our industry, and can you do it without it? Sure, you're not going to make as much money.
And a perk to your hazmat too is that if you have the hazmat endorsement, you go through the TSA process, get your fingerprints done,
Yes.
and the background check. It's the same background check that they do for TSA pre-check. So if you're parking your truck in Florida and you're flying home, you get that TSA pre-check automatically because you have the hazmat endorsement. So that's a nice little perk of having that hazmat endorsement.
That's right. Did you and Jimmy try that when you came up here? Yeah, we talked about it. So it's
I don't think it works that way in
It does.
Georgia.
It does.
It's nationwide.
It's
Does it?
nationwide. It's a TSA thing. It's nationwide. So when you book a flight,
Okay.
when it asks for your known traveler number, that's where you normally put your TSA number. You put the two letters of your state and your driver's license number. That's your known traveler number.
Yep.
And then
Oh,
when
I
you get
should
your
add
boarding
that to my
pass,
Delta app.
yes,
Yes,
you
you
should.
do.
Okay.
When you get your boarding pass, it'll say pre-check on there.
Yep.
But
Why
Melissa
are
and I
you
do
just
it all
now
the
telling
time.
me this?
You know, if
I
you
told you this
if
a while back,
You did
but
not.
had you watched the
You
Luke
didn't reiterate
expediting
it.
videos,
She reminded her.
you would know.
Ooh.
You would know if you'd watched Luke's expediting.
I've seen them all. But I've seen
You seem to be having all kinds.
I do.
For those of you that
I'm
are
having-
listening to the
listen.
podcast and not watching it,
What am I doing wrong?
Our
Kelly,
stuff is falling.
the Expedite Chix microphone just keeps slowly
We get a little
collapsing.
What
stability
am I doing
here.
wrong?
I don't know.
Okay, maybe I got it.
We'll see.
Just slowly
Nope,
going
it's going down still. Looks like
It will in 5 minutes. It's gonna be down here.
that's insane.
I thought I was doing this. Maybe I'm not strong. There we go.
That was it. You got to get that last final squeeze in. It's so funny,
That
y'all.
last
Last
little bit
night,
squeeze.
last night they were doing arm wrestling.
Not by they don't mean the chicks.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
By
the
that,
chicks
they
were
mean
not
the-
wrestling.
That means
No.
the chicks, dudes.
Well, the chicks were mud wrestling. The dudes were arm wrestling.
Okay, don't
You
start
sit on a throne of lies
stories.
right
You do
now.
sit on a
That did
throne
not
of lies.
happen.
I sit on a throne of lies.
Yes.
It's possible. So,
You haven't even laughed. Do you want to have joke time? You wanna
Oh,
tell
you
some
got jokes?
Shit, you ain't got no jokes.
you ain't got no jokes.
She
I
offered.
mean,
She offered. Let's get some jokes.
I got 5-year-old jokes.
No, those are appropriate.
Okay.
All right.
Why don't seagulls hang by the bay?
Then they'd be bagels.
Son of a. Very good.
Thank you very much.
You ruined her 5-year-old joke.
You did. That's my favorite joke in the whole wide world.
What'd the
Ruined
left boob say to the right boob?
it. How's it hanging?
If we get any lower, we're gonna be balls.
Not a 5-year-old joke.
No.
Credit to Melissa Cheshire for that one.
It was a good one.
Pirate walks into a bar with a steering wheel in his pants. So the bartender looks at him. Hey man, you got a steering wheel in your pants. The pirate goes, "Arr, it's driving me nuts."
I've heard that one actually.
I learned
but
that at
didn't
church
remember that
camp.
either. Why does that not surprise
I
me?
learned my bagel one at church camp. I still remember it after all these years.
Well, we're back with the Expedite Chicks in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us today. We do have to talk we have to take care of some contractual obligations. You see, the sponsor of today's podcast I would say require. Would you say require?
I would say
I would say
requires, yeah.
requires
Yeah.
us to talk about certain things within the show. It's not, again, this is kind of against our will, but it's paying our salary, so we do it anyways. And so today we must get into the airplane of the week. Vince, what is the airplane of the week?
The airplane of the week is a KLM
Yes. Go on.
Boeing
Nope. Nice try. Yeah.
Airbus
Yes.
A3
Uh-huh. Yeah, buddy. No. I'll give you a hint. It's extremely similar to last week.
Yeah, that requires me to remember last week.
All right.
An
So,
A380.
nice. The world's largest plane, the double-decker.
Right. This one just is cargo on one
with
deck.
with
doesn't need windows.
with four engines.
Yeah, this one is a budget version.
It's a
of
budget.
That one.
You're right. It is.
Doesn't need all the engines or the windows
or the numbers. So they
Right.
only call this one a 330
right. So
dash
it's
200.
50 less.
So what you would learn about, or what you may know about this is, our notice is last week we had a Delta Airlines A330-300 on the show. Today we have a KLM A330-200 on the show. So this plane is a little shorter, and listen, it's a good airplane even if it's a little shorter. All right, it's still fine. It's the same. It's the same width. It's a twin aisle. It's a big airplane. It's just not as long as the one from last week. 2 engines. This airplane, again, a derivative of that A340 with the 4 engine like we discussed last year. We don't have last week. We don't have to get into it.
So would you say this one's girthier?
I would say it's the same girth.
Same girth.
Same
Gotcha.
girth.
Okay.
Yes. Nice long haul plane. KLM is a Dutch airline. Little fun fact about KLM, for being such a massive airline, they have approximately 0, not one single domestic flight.
Really? All international?
Everything they do is international. Now, they do have the asterisks, as you have like Barry Bonds does.
Okay.
The asterisk is that they do go to some Dutch territories, but they are still considered international flights. They have no domestic flights within Amsterdam or Holland. So everything is international. But they're a huge airline. I've flown them multiple times. I flew on this bad boy quite a while back on the way back from London. We flew to London, and I do love a good deal, as you may know. And KLM is a partner with Delta, so you can actually book a KLM flight on Delta Airlines, Delta's website. So I did. And so we flew on the smallest little airplane I've ever been on over to Amsterdam, and then got on this bad boy and flew it back to New York City. Nice airline, nice airplane, comfortable. One thing I do love about KLM is that they give you these little porcelain houses. You've probably seen them on top of the china cabinet in my dining room. And little tiny porcelain houses. They're about 3 or 4 inches tall and 2 inches by 2 inches. They are filled with gin. So apparently Amsterdam, Holland, they're known for their gin. I don't drink gin, so I say sure. And so they give you those when you get ready to land. They pass them out, and you kind of pick out which house you want. Okay. So we've got a little village going because we've flown with them a few times. And it's cool because, or not cool, but unique. When we flew Dubai, from Dubai back to America several years ago, they're not allowed to give out the ones with liquor due to the laws in Dubai and the Emirates. So we got empty ones. So we still got our houses. They just were empty. They didn't have anything in them. But then once we flew from Holland back to New York City, then we did get our gin-filled ones. But it's a good airline, a good airplane company. The cool thing about KLM is they were actually founded in 1919. They're the oldest airline operating in the world, and they still operate under their same name that they originally founded under. So like a bunch of airlines, like even Delta Airlines, whose Delta's been Delta since the 20s or 30s, they originally were founded under a different name. KLM was KLM from day one, 1919. The Wright brothers flew for the first time in 1903. So you're talking, what is that, 16 years later? Now we're flying commercially?
Right.
Like, that's crazy.
That's insane.
It's insane how fast it is. Think about World War I. You know, we're having dogfights with biplanes and triplanes. Yeah. A couple years later, World War II, we're having dogfights with Mustangs. Like, aviation has just grown so fast. But they've been with it for well over 100 years. So very great company. They've had some very nasty wrecks. But it makes sense because if you're going to be so old,
it's so big.
It's so big, you're going to have
it's going to happen.
Things. But they're extremely reputable company. If you get a chance, fly KLM. They are a very comfortable airline. You will not be disappointed. I actually flew KLM, like I said before, from London, actually Birmingham, not Alabama, Birmingham, England, to the Netherlands, to Amsterdam, and it took like 45 minutes. Very, very short flight. And on that flight, they gave us breakfast.
Wow.
And I'm like, in America, you would have got a thing saying, due to the short nature of the flight, we are not having, let
Any
alone
service.
any service, not even a Biscoff. You don't get Biscoff, you don't get water, you get nothing. We're asking the flight attendants to stay seated the whole time. KLM, they're like, here's your breakfast. What kind of drink would you like? It's like unbelievable the amount of service they give you. So always been impressed with them. A330, the 200, it is an older airplane. It's a 2-engine airplane. It's old-fashioned, so you don't get the nice humidity and all the things that y'all know I love about airplanes. But it is a very safe, reliable airplane. It's very comfortable. I just, had a good experience. And I recommend the airline. They do their business class, which is what I like to fly, in a 222 configuration. So modern days is they'll take a jet this same size and they'll do 1 seat, 2 seats, and 1 seat. This one being 2222 means you're a little more cramped. But, I mean, compared to that flying economy, I'll take it.
Yeah.
It's still very nice.
I'm curious if you know what KLM actually stands for.
I do, and I think we just had it sent over. We did, yes. Would you please go ahead and read it for everybody?
I will. Just for the listening audience, KLM stands for Royal Aviation Company. At least the English translation of KLM is Royal Aviation Company. I'll leave the Dutch version up to you, Patrick.
Okay. Well, you can check out.
How about we do this? How about we don't offend our Dutch listeners? We have quite a few of them.
Yes, we do. Well, we're actually polling quite well in the Netherlands.
We really are.
We really are.
We truly are. So let's not offend them. Maybe
that's why we only have Holland made tulips here.
Right. Exactly. Maybe one of our Dutch listeners will send us a audio recording of how it's actually pronounced.
I think that'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
I'd really appreciate that.
That'd be great.
I think Jerry can work on that for us.
Yep. Email it to us at the Outer Belt Podcast at gmail.com.
That's right.
Please.
Yes. I actually, so first time I flew with KLM, I opened up their menu. So you fly business class to give you a menu when you sit down. The first part of it is cocktails. The second part of it is what they're serving for breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever leg you're flying on. And their signature cocktail on KLM is a Negroni.
Okay.
And I'm like, I've heard of Negronis. I've never had one. This will be great. If this is their signature, that means it's got to be amazing.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing I've ever had in my life. It's god awfulness.
Negroni is
Campari and gin.
Oh, gross.
Campari is super bitter.
Super bitter. Extremely bitter.
Super bitter. And apparently it's a acquired taste. Campari is just bitter in anything.
It's disgusting. It was
Did it
so
get the
bad.
job done, though?
No, as a matter of fact, so I ordered one.
He
So
didn't finish it.
Eric and I ordered one, and then he also asked for a glass of red wine to go with his dinner. And so the lady brought back a glass of red wine for him and the Negroni for me, and she didn't bring him one because she just didn't understand quite what he was asking for. And so he then said, I was trying to explain, like he was going to tell her when she came back, I really wanted a Negroni now as well. But I took one sip of mine, and then he took a sip of his. And when she walked back over and she said, is everything okay? He was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm good. Yeah. No, that's a big no thank you. That was terrible.
First time he's glad he got bad service.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never had one, I encourage you to try it. It is
You
repulsive.
got to try at least one so you know how horrible they are.
But wait till
I'll
it's
take your
free.
word for it. I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah. Wait till it's free. Don't try it and pay for it. It is repulsive. So that is the airplane of the week. They do have another airplane that I'm going to be sharing with y'all shortly that I love. But this isn't one. This is not the one I
isn't the
love.
one?
I like this one. I'll fly it again.
Okay.
But the one I love, can't wait to share that with y'all in a couple weeks.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
You want me to try to pronounce this?
Go on. Come on, South Georgia. North Georgia.
I'm not South Georgia.
Come on, North Georgia. Go on.
KLM.
Yes.
I'm going to attempt it.
Nope.
Oh, my God. Y'all may lose your followers after this. Okay.
They've already gone.
Yeah, it's too late.
Konik
Okay.
Jike.
Konnichiwa.
Yes, ma'am.
Luke Tavart Matchachapij.
Like I said.
How'd I do?
Konnichiwa.
Okay.
It's Jimmy's phone.
I thought one of y'all wanted to try.
No, I get it. No.
How did I do?
That's why he passed and said Royal Aviation.
Exactly.
As soon as he saw it.
Yeah.
Können Klitschki, Luchtwert, Match Cappage.
That's what I said.
There you go.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I said.
I kind of feel like that was fairly decent.
Well, thank
It
you.
was a valiant effort, babe.
Thanks. I tried.
I think you did an amazing job.
I do too.
Except y'all already
Amazing
forgot
job.
what I said. I don't feel like I said anything close to that.
But no, it's been a fun week. We've been getting ready for Expedite Expo 2023.
I'm excited.
We moving on to 24.
We're moving
Yes,
on
we
24.
are. Moving on.
It's
23 is
Saturday,
locked in.
Yeah, we're done.
We're
At
done.
this point, if it did or didn't happen, it's done.
It's done.
And that's
By the time you
all
hear
that
this,
matters.
if it did or didn't happen, will be.
Yes. But anyways, it's been a lot of fun. Been so glad having you here. Enjoyed your company. We've enjoyed hanging out with
As
you.
always.
We look forward to spending more time together. You
Chix content.
you have an open invitation.
Chicks content coming soon. Content by all YouTubers coming out.
Yes, I'm excited.
Right?
We record a bunch of stuff at Expo.
We do.
It's been a lot of fun. We're going to record some more stuff today, and I look forward to hanging out and laying down those beats. And I'm beats. That's not the right phrase.
no.
Anyways, a studio, but not that kind of
We tried.
studio. I
We
look
tried.
forward to talking more at the show. I enjoy seeing all of y'all. It's been a lot of fun. It really warms my heart to meet all of y'all and out there listening to this. And those of you that came out to the show, it's been awesome.
Yeah,
Really
it's
do
been a good time.
appreciate it. Love it.
Yep.
We have a live coming up, but we don't have a date yet.
We got to work on that.
We got to work on that. Jerome,
We do.
see what happened.
We're not.
was-
What had happened? We don't
See,
know
what
how to
happened
edit.
was-
So what we're going to have to do?
Well, the thing
Well,
about
the thing about
live
lives is there's
no
no
editing.
editing. There's no editing alive. That's the best part.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying we don't know how to edit to begin with.
Well,
we don't know how to keep
that you don't
ourselves
have to. You
control.
don't need it.
You
we
don't
know how
need
to keep
to.
ourselves in control. For
Sure
a live
you do.
video.
You do a
No, you
10-minute video. Trust me, you can hold
Yeah.
together for 10
You'll be
minutes.
fine.
Just sit on the dock of the
I
bay,
beg to differ.
look at the seagulls,
We might
and
go live this weekend.
Okay.
Well,
oh,
if
well, we'll
they're
see.
sitting on the dock of the bay, they're looking at the bagels.
That's right.
Oh. Wait, you want more jokes? I
brought
can
it
do
back.
more jokes.
Brought it back for you.
Hey yo! Listen, it's been all over the place. It's been a lot of fun. Jerry's got a ton of editing. If this doesn't sound right, it's all
Blame
Jerry's
Patrick.
fault.
Yeah.
And we just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with us, Jerry. What are we forgetting?
So if you're interested in doing what we do, check out hyfieldtrucking.com. You can contact us over there, fill out the contact form, give us a call. We're always happy to talk to you. Live chat as well, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. If you would like to send the Outer Belt an email, theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com. If you would like to reach out to the Chix, they are on YouTube as well. Send them a message. And yeah,
You can also just call us, and you're probably going to get
Facebook, Instagram, or call the Hyfield line, and I will answer it.
That's Chicks with an
possibly.
X. Chicks with an X.
Call the Chicks line.
and if you're interested in just listening to this, if you can't watch the YouTube version, we are available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. So just download it and stream away.
Like, subscribe. all
Like,
that good stuff.
subscribe, share us. If you like what we're doing, if you enjoy our content, if you think you've got family members that need to hear this, that need to possibly get into a truck and come enjoy the world and see the country and make a lot of money doing it, and you don't want to tell them directly, just throw it up on Facebook or Instagram. Throw a little link out there for the world to see. Maybe,
Yes,
they'll
please.
grab it. Maybe they'll see it.
Please.
Maybe they'll be entertained by us. Maybe they'll think we're boring. Who knows? We won't find out until you try.
Yes.
Thank you so much for all of our supporters, all of our fan base. Thank you for the Expedite Chicks for coming and hanging out with us. Thank you to my co-host, Vince, and to my producer, Jerome Barrow. I appreciate the opportunity to hang out with you. Thank you, KLM, for being the unsponsored plane of the week. And thank you, everybody, for listening to us. Be safe, make good decisions, and have a good night.
Don't leave money on the table.
And
Chicks
Chicks
out.
out.
And keep those wheels a turning.
Good night.